Hello out there, you wonderful people. This is Andre, the Game Idea Guy. Thank you once again for joining me for another Gamer's Thoughts discussion. And this time I'm going to be talking about The Walking Dead, the TellTale game series, The Walking Dead. I don't know why I messed that up, but whatever. So I've recently had the chance to actually complete the 3 games in order. From The Walking Dead Season 1 to Walking Dead Season 2 to The Walking Dead A New Frontier, which should have just been called Season 3. But the first 2 seasons are they're all directly connected to each other. I'm not going to make that mistake and say that they're not. But the way the first 2 seasons are connected makes sense. Because you start off with Lee, you find the little girl Clementine, and I'm sorry for all the spoilers for people who haven't played this, so it's kind of old now. But you play as Lee in the first season, and you rescue Clementine, this little girl, and she's with you throughout the entirety of this game, of this whole ordeal. She's with you throughout the entirety until she gets kidnapped. And then Lee gets bitten, trying to figure out where she is. He goes to save her before he dies. He uses every bit of energy and everything he has in himself to save that little girl. And toward the end of the game, he dies. He either turns or you blast him in the head with Clementine so he doesn't turn. One way or the other, he dies. So Season 2 makes sense that you would continue on playing the story from Clementine's perspective because she was the character with Lee the entire time. He was teaching her how to take care of herself throughout that game, while protecting her and teaching her how to take care of herself. In the second game, she knows a little bit more. She's paying attention to things. She's learning. She's watching. She's a little bit tougher. She starts to voice her opinions, which is cool. All of that makes sense. Like that you would continue on the story from her perspective up until the end of that game. Now the third season veers off where you play with another character, Javier. Now I don't have a problem with the fact that they did a story this way, but it's just like, why didn't they stick with Clementine as the main character that you're playing with? She's there throughout all the events. She's there the pretty much the entire time. Oh, sorry. She's there pretty much the entire time. But again, this is an older Clementine. I think she's closer to like 13 years old at this point as far as the story goes. But she's there for most of the game. And it just makes no sense. But and then you're playing this dual perspective thing where you're looking at events from Clementine's history between Season 2 and 3 and Javier's whole life since things have happened. But since everything went down. And it's just like, I get what they were doing, because it does work a little bit more like a TV show that way. But at the same time, it's like, why did they need a new main character for this season? Honestly, with the fact that Clementine started off so young, you wouldn't really need another main or lead character for a while. Honestly, I guess it's just me preferences. I would have preferred playing with her continuing forward rather than playing with a new character that was entirely unrelated until they just happened to meet up with each other. I think for me that's the difference maker there. I would have definitely preferred that they would have just stuck with Clementine and you just see things from her perspective and continue on her story. Now, there's not a reason that you couldn't have met Javier and his family during her story. There's no reason you couldn't have. And it could have given them the opportunity to have a whole other side game with him and his family to cover whatever they had gone through. I think that would have worked out better for it, and it still could have been connected to the same events. It's just like how there's the side game for Michonne. It's not directly tied into what Lee and Clementine and that gang went through, but at the same time, it's still there, still another character's perspective of what's going on in the world during these events. And I don't know exactly where hers fits into the timeline of events, because I just haven't taken the time to research it. But it's still it's a whole separate beast to itself, and that's what they could have done with Javier's family. I would have, or honestly, if they were going to do season 3, then season 3 should have solely focused on Javier's family up until you got to a point where you met Clementine, and then that could have been a whole season 4, where you could have both the characters. Then I don't know. It's the way it played out to me. I think it just bothers me for some reason. There's nothing wrong with it, but like all of it's, as far as the storytelling perspective, I believe all of it's actually pretty decent, because it comes from the writers of the comic book and of the TV show. So at least that's what I assume as far as the story goes. I mean, I could be completely wrong, but it's just like there was stuff that could have been done that I think would have, it probably just would have been a little bit better to flesh things out, because once you're just you just have Javier's family thrown at you when you have this history of other characters already, and it's like this just comes out of left field. I mean, again, there's nothing wrong with the story plot, the story beats that they gave them. Everything, as far as I'm concerned, works. It's just it's kind of off-putting, I guess I should say. Like, and maybe that's the thing for me, because I was expecting, hey, I'm starting up season 3, I'm going to be playing with Clem again. I was like, okay, I'm continuing her story. To find out you're not. And I guess it's kind of like a little bit of disappointment sets in, because you just saw this little girl, you saw her from not being able to take care of herself to stitching her own arm because a dog bit her. And to me, it's just like there's a lot that could have been better done, I guess, and I think it would have just been a better overall story from her perspective. But I don't really have much more to say. Again, it's not bad. There's nothing wrong with the games, with the third season. It's good as far as I'm concerned. It's just preference would have been, let's play with Clementine, or they could have done something where you could choose playing with Clementine or playing with Javier. Again, either one would have been nice. But that's it. Thank you guys very much for listening. Keep your eyes and ears up for more stuff from me. And until the next time, enjoy your games and peace out.